The respiratory system. The respiratory system includes all of our body parts that help with our breathing. Our respiratory system is very important because we need to be able to breathe in order to live. There are multiple different body parts that help us with our breathing. Our respiratory system is called involuntary. This means our bodies can do it without us thinking about it. So when we're sleeping or doing homework, we might not be thinking about breathing, but our body does it on its own. The parts of our body we will talk about today that are involved with the respiratory system are our nose, mouth, throat, lungs, and diaphragm. Oxygen. The science name for air is oxygen. We need to breathe in oxygen in order to live. Our bodies will not work properly if we do not have oxygen inside of it. The way we get the oxygen inside is by breathing it in. Just like cars need gas to work, our bodies need oxygen to work. We know that if a car does not have gas, it will not run. Same with if our bodies do not have oxygen, they will not work. You might realize you breathe really hard when we are at PE. That is because we are using our muscles a lot. The more we use our muscles exercising, the more oxygen we need. That is why we breathe faster and heavier at PE so we can get more oxygen in our bodies. So we think about when we play all those fun games, maybe you run really hard and fast during sharks and minnows. You're using your muscles and exercising a lot, so while you're using your muscles more, they want more oxygen. The way you get more oxygen inside of your body is by breathing it in. And since you want more, you breathe harder and faster. That's why we breathe harder and faster during PE, to get more oxygen in our bodies when we're exercising. The respiratory system starts by us breathing in oxygen. There are two ways that we can breathe in oxygen. One way oxygen can enter our bodies is by breathing it in through our noses. If you take a deep breath with your nose, you can feel the air entering your body. One cool fact, we have hair in our noses to help keep dust and dirt from going inside of our bodies. So sometimes when we see dust in the air or dirt in the air and we're breathing, if we breathe in that yucky air, we don't want any of that dirt and stuff to get inside of our body, so the hair can keep it out if it's in our nose. Another way we can breathe in oxygen is through our mouths. Sometimes we'll breathe in oxygen through our mouths if we are breathing hard and want to get extra oxygen into our body. If we breathe in with our mouth and nose, we can get even more oxygen into our bodies. Another reason we might want to breathe in through our mouths is if we have a cold or our nose is stuffy. So sometimes I think if I have a cold and my nose is clogged, I can't really breathe through my nose very well, so then I have to breathe through my mouth. Sometimes we breathe through our mouths when we're sleeping too. Our throat. After we breathe in oxygen, either through our nose, our mouth, or both, the oxygen then travels down our throat. The science word for the part of our throat that the oxygen travels down is called the trachea. Our trachea is sometimes also called our windpipe as a nickname. Our throat or trachea are very important because it connects our nose and our mouth to our lungs so our oxygen can get there. So if we look at the picture to the side of the man, you can see the man's trachea right there, his windpipe. They breathe in through the nose or through his mouth, and then the oxygen goes down his throat, which is also called the trachea. Lungs. After the oxygen travels down through our throat, it goes into our lungs. Our lungs are the most important part of our respiratory system. Our lungs are where the oxygen we breathe gets into our blood. Once the oxygen we breathe gets into our lungs and then into our blood, our heart can pump our blood that is filled with oxygen throughout our body. This is very important because every part of our body needs oxygen. Our diaphragm. Another part of our body that helps with our breathing is called our diaphragm. Our diaphragm is a muscle toward the bottom of our chest and underneath our lungs. The job of our diaphragm is to help our lungs breathe in and breathe out. It is a very strong muscle. Our diaphragm is like a big pump that helps push air in and out. If you take a deep breath and then breathe out heavily, your diaphragm is helping to breathe in a lot of that air and breathe it out. So if we look at this picture right here, we can see this big muscle under our ribs. That is our diaphragm. So if you take a deep breath in right now and then breathe out, that is our diaphragm will get bigger and smaller as we want to. It's like a big pump and helps pump in the air and then push it back out to help our lungs get the oxygen inside of our body. So our diaphragm is very important with helping to push the air in and push it out. Carbon dioxide. Once the oxygen has made it to the rest of the body, the old blood comes back with a new gas in it. The new gas that comes back to our body is called carbon dioxide. Our bodies do not need carbon dioxide to get in our bodies, so then we breathe it out to get rid of it. So we have the oxygen in our blood goes out throughout our body, and then when the blood comes back towards our lungs and our heart, it comes back with carbon dioxide in it, and we breathe it out because we do not need it. So to review, our respiratory system is in charge of our body's breathing. The scientific word for air is oxygen. Our bodies need oxygen in order to work. If we do not have oxygen, we cannot live. There are multiple body parts that help us with our breathing. Each of them work together so we can get the oxygen our bodies need. The respiratory system starts out by breathing in either through our nose, mouth, or both. So we look at the picture here. This is where the respiratory system starts, either our nose or our mouth. Oxygen then goes down through our throat and then down the windpipe. So we see right here, we breathe in air. It can go in either through our nose or our mouth. It's going to go down our trachea or our windpipe, which is in our throat. Then it goes down, the oxygen goes down into the most important part, which is our lungs. So if we look right here, it goes down our trachea, and then the oxygen goes into these two big muscles called our lungs, which are very, very important. In our lungs is where that oxygen gets into our blood so it can be pumped throughout our body. So all of our body needs blood in order for the oxygen to travel throughout our body. It gets into our blood, is pumped through our heart, and it gets into our blood in our lungs. Underneath our lungs is our diaphragm. Our diaphragm is a big muscle which helps us breathe. They're like big pumps that help us breathe in and out. So when we breathe in and out, we can feel our chest getting bigger and smaller. That's because our diaphragm is getting bigger and smaller and pumping in and out the air and oxygen we're breathing. Once our blood makes it back from traveling throughout our body, it comes back with a new gas called carbon dioxide. So it goes into our lungs as oxygen, then travels all the way throughout our body. But when it comes back towards our lungs and our heart, it comes back with a new gas called carbon dioxide. We do not need that carbon dioxide, so what we do to get rid of it is to breathe out. So then that carbon dioxide comes back out either our nose or our mouth, and we breathe out. Then our body will need oxygen again, so we start all over again because our body needs oxygen all day and every day. So that's why we're always breathing. We need oxygen all day, so we're always breathing all day, every day. We breathe in oxygen, and we breathe out carbon dioxide, and then we repeat. Please complete the Google form to complete the assignment. Thank you.